my channel. My name's Rose and this is Beauty Boomer. We're going to get right into it today. I get a lot of comments about my skin. So I wanted to show you how I get my radiant skin with my makeup. As you can see, I have no makeup on. I took a shower about a half an hour ago. After I showered, I moisturized. So, you know, this is it. This is my blank canvas. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray my face with Mistified. I do this every single time before I prep as part of my skin prep. So this is my first step. Whew. And I just kind of pat it in. So this is just a hydrating mist. It is by Gerard Cosmetics. And yes, I do have a code. It's Beauty Boomer. You can get 30% off. Link in the description. The next thing I do, so I let this kind of set in for a minute and just kind of pat it in. So then the next thing I do is I use not necessarily a primer, but I use a base. With this, it's called Embryolisse Late Cream Concentrate. You can use it as a moisturizer or a makeup primer. So I'm going to take a little of that, little dab, and kind of work it into my hands and just pat it around. And I kind of go up into my under eye area real gently. So this does take a minute or two to dry down, I have to say. This is not instantaneous. So again, you can see all of the light bouncing off my face right now because it kind of made my face dewy. So the next thing I do is, if I'm really, really red, I'll put a little concealer on. And for that, I use the Lancome concealer. And I use the color, let's see if I can read this, the color Ivory, number 90. So I'll take my concealer and just kind of dot it on. And then I take like my little makeup brush, a little synthetic brush, and kind of work it in. And then just, again, press it in. So that helped to camouflage most of the redness. You can still see it through it in certain areas. I'm not, like I said, I'm not looking for that completely blank face. I want to show some of my skin characteristics. So the next thing I do is I take my foundation, and I use MAC foundation. I use Studio Fluid Fix, and I use NW20 is my color. Okay, but before I put that on, I use either one of these BB Plus illuminations. One has a golden undertone and one has a pinker undertone. So for the purpose of today, I am going to use the color Grace, and I'm going to shake it up. And I just put it on my glass palette, and I just use one drop, okay? This stuff, what I have found is you don't need very much at all. And with the same makeup brush, I have a paper towel here, so I just kind of wipe it off, dab it off, and I go in with my foundation brush, and I'm just applying this kind of to the cheeks and working it in. Anywhere where you would want highlighter, so you can see it's really throwing off a lot of reflection. I do the bridge of my nose. And sometimes I do right up here on right above my brow. And then I wipe my brush off again. So you can see I'm building up the radiance. You can see like my cheeks are reflecting light. And it will come through my foundation because I just use a little bit of foundation. Dampened my Beauty Blender, but I'm still going to use this microfiber cloth, and I'm just going to keep squeezing it a little bit because I want as much moisture as possible taken out of this Beauty Blender. I don't like using a really wet. I want it just barely damp. So there we go. So put that to the side. So now I'm going to take my makeup, my foundation, same makeup brush, foundation brush, and I'm just going to start applying from the middle of my face outward. And by the time I get to my nose area where I put the Illumination BB cream, there's hardly any on the brush, so all of that illumination still comes through. So I kind of like rough apply my foundation, and then I take the Beauty Blender and I just tap it in. I just kind of go over and I go up underneath my eyes. I don't use a lot of concealer on my mature eyes. Working it in so that you can see how much got picked up on the Beauty Blender. This was clean when I started. So I'm going to turn it around. I just want a thin layer. So I have my foundation on, but you can still see a lot of light reflection coming through my skin. There's no highlighter. Everything is, you know, creating that base of radiance underneath your foundation. Now, yes, I have to set this, but I think that one of the biggest mistakes that we make is we set our foundation too soon, and that gives us a cakey look. So I'm going to go ahead and do my brows, and then I will come back and show you how I do the rest of it. Okay, so I've just filled in my brows, and I'm just going to lightly touch my face. So it's mostly settled. My foundation is pretty good right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my MAC powder, face setting powder. It was from the Patrick Starr collection, but any matte powder that you have. So I'm just going to use a very little brush and tap it off, and then I'm just going to kind of tap that in just around this area. Where I want to stay matte. And then I take a powder that has like a little bit of a glow. So I like to use this Milani Prep Set and Glow, and I use that to set the rest of my face. So I just swirl it in and tap it off, and then just very lightly buff that into my skin. And I give that a chance to just kind of all settle in. And then I go back to my Mistified, okay? And I spray that again. And I just take my sponge and just kind of bounce it very, very lightly over. So you can see my skin looks really natural. It doesn't look cakey or powdery. The glow is kind of coming from within. You know, I just look like I have radiant skin. This is with no blush, no bronzer, anything. So then the next step would be to really let my face dry down. So that's when I put on my eye primer, and I use the MAC Painterly Paint Pot. So I kind of brush it on with a dual fiber brush, and then I just gently pat it in. And then I go real lightly over my lower lash line. So instead of using concealer, I do this. And then I go back into my Patrick Star setting powder, and I use a very light coat, and I just set that. So now my eyes are nice and bright. I have a base for eyeshadow, or if I just want to put on some mascara and have more of a natural look, I can do that. But my eyes don't look dark. They don't look real veiny or red anymore. So now I'm going to go in, I take my blush, and I'm just going to do a very simple bronzer and blush today. So I use my Hoola Light because I'm fair skinned. And I just go right here in the hollow of my cheek, and then a little bit along the side, and whatever's left up here into the hairline. And whatever's left after that, along my jaw and a little bit down my neck. I'm going to be using the Scott Barnes blush palette. And I'm going to go into these two colors, the pink and then this coral. And I'm just going to kind of tap back and forth. And then I like to tap it on my hand first. And then I'm going to go right here. Start building, and then make circular motions. And sometimes I take whatever's left and just swipe it over my lid, and maybe bring a little bit up here. Whatever's left, I just kind of play around with it. So we have that now. That's the next layer. And because when we keep using powders, I go back and forth. So now I'm going to take some setting spray, and I'll set this. Anytime you want to use a powder, you want to go back and put the moisture back in, and that really helps to blend everything. So that is how I do it. So I do it in layers. So I start off with my base. I really make sure I hydrate the skin. So I use the Hydra-Mist, the mistified spray. Then I use a moisturizer. I don't use a primer. Then I use my BB cream just to put some glow here. So I don't really have to put on a highlighter. If you can see, my skin is still really glowy. But not glittery at all, which I like. You know, I'm older. I don't need glitter on my cheeks. So then I put my foundation on, let that sit in, do my brows, powder, matte powder down the center of my face, and a glow powder around the perimeter. And then I set that again with the Mistified, go in and put in my lids, put my lid primer on, come back, do my bronzer and blush, and then spray again with setting spray. So that is how I get my skin to look glowy, natural, radiant. I hope you like this video. I will put links to products down below, and if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe. I post videos about once a week, and ring the bell so you get notified of when I upload. I thank you so much. If you want to see more of these skin type videos, drop me a comment down below and let me know. But this was a highly requested video, and I hope you liked it, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.